As another view, Duane spoke recently of an individual who drove a vehicle straight into the personal self-house of someone that was being prepped for their awareness process, someone ready for the opportunity, and someone Duane was assisting on the real side. In this case, however, this experience Duane recounted, this was not meant as a benefit to wake people up from their personal self-encasement. This individual's motivation was to cause disruption, to interfere, etc. So, in my experience, the digger driver may have been a real guide, snapping me out of a momentary personal self-attitude moment, a kind of clip around the ear by the sergeant to get the distracted soldier focused on the task at hand. Or perhaps it was an individual with disruptive intent. For as I said earlier, we do need our personal selves while in creation, and even though those on their awareness process would be generally out and about on the real side, and not sat in our personal self-houses there, the houses would still be present as a kind of home base, as something to relate to. And surely, if someone attacks or adversely affects our personal selves, this could be rather detrimental to our process of awareness. Maybe not for individuals who were far more advanced and able to be extremely indifferent to the trials and situations of creation and the personal self, but for those still very much on their process, who are very young at this, which indeed I would consider myself to be, personal self-situations can be somewhat derailing, as that which we need to relate to put our backs up against as we step into the unknown may get attacked and interfered with. This would be the demonstration then with Duane's experience, when the individual smashed into the other's house, an individual whose intent was not to show the house-bound individual the possibility of more beyond the house, but more so along the lines of disrupting a personal self an individual wasn't quite ready to move beyond. And maybe then, at that moment in my house, I rather needed the illusory safety of the comfort zone providing situation of my personal self, like a comfort blanket, and in came a digger to disrupt that, and the best time to strike would be when one was standing in their personal self and momentarily disconnected from the protection and knowing what to do in every eventuality, real awareness. Either way, really, be it a guide or a disruptor, we ought not entertain the personal self for long, because to do so only serves to delay and hinder us, and in fact we can see how strife and turmoil is an aid to our focus and our continued journey of ears recognition.
Okay, with all that said, Mr. Kevin, what is the prosthesis or whatever you call it from the experience? Looks to me like it was one of the boys just kind of remodeling the house for you. Well, how do you see it?
Yeah, something along those lines. My initial impression was that it was a guide, and evidently they were definitely trying to get my attention. They obviously were breaking down the walls of my house, and so, as you suggest, a remodeling, or how I viewed it, I saw it as I was perhaps obviously sat in my personal self and perhaps having one of my funny moments, and the guy came smashing through the door to sort of snap me out of it. But yes, either view, I guess.
It's all a wake-up call. It's more so than just a rooster, which we have a lot of here, and so that gets old. But an experience I had years ago, one of the many real sight experiences, is where it was in a large open area, and there was this large wall to the left, which is the past, and there was a fella up there on scaffolding, I would say about maybe 2 stories high. Looks like he was doing something on the wall. And then all of a sudden, and I was about, probably 30 yards from it. It was in the distance a little bit to the left. And all of a sudden, the scaffolding all collapsed, and the fella kind of just disappeared that was up there. His face was against the wall, and I kind of looked at that for a moment. Then all of a sudden, 3 or 4 of the boys came along and just kind of said, "Is that okay with you?" And I said, "Sure, okay." And so it was really an idea from the past that was being taken care of, that was collapsing, and that had created certain walls, etc. And so they were showing, the fella on the wall. Walls don't create themselves. We create these things, etc. And so the person that, or the idea that I used that created that at that particular time, this is many years ago, probably, over a decade ago, decade and a half. But the same idea there. So they're coming in there, and they're rather abruptive, so that, that's just how it is. That's just part of the wake up. Sometimes they come silently. It just depends. Sometimes they're abruptive. And when you can take it, it's like all of a sudden it's a new moment. So It's a good thing. It really is. And I remember when I took the rod of power on the real side, the house, there had been a big earthquake, and earthquakes are change. And the house I was in was totally devastated. It was split in half and totally devastated because it was a big change coming, etc. So these are good things when these things happen because, again, all of a sudden you're outside in the sunlight, and eventually we don't need these little boxes that we've created with this personal self. We don't even need this personal self. We are beings of light, and it's all awareness. Everything is awareness. So yes, that's a good one, Kevin. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for listening to this video, and if you want to hear more, subscribe to my channel to find further recordings and to keep you updated with all the latest new presentation videos. Duane, the great writer, is making himself available for those who want to know more and see more and be more than just having another ordinary, unaware life on this purposely poisoned planet. Create your new session with Duane, the great writer, and discuss any topic you like. Here are some examples to discuss: personal, financial, relationships, dreams, government, 5G, GMO, chemtrails, vaccines, HARP, military, secret service, spying, subliminal taplining, conspiracy, angels, gods, fairies, ghosts, aliens, reptilians, religious, spiritual, governments, monarchy, and anything that pertains to what you are experiencing in this creation bubble, and also the real universes of real freedom. Learn to get your own answers. New sessions start at 30 minutes at $1. $1 into PayPal a minute, and can be as much time as needed. And yes, the way Duane writes his new words refers to something more than what is known here, and this is where you decide to recognize what is real now with all life, or continue on as you have, with just another personal life in an aging body form. Contact Kevin Smith UK and Dean Val USA on Facebook and YouTube. Additionally, an official new presentation club is now available. The New Awareness Club, membership to which is $1 per month through PayPal. Click on the New Awareness website link below the description of this video, and from there navigate to the forum site and register there, which serves as a home base for the club.